equal pay for equal work. Chances are you've heard that statement before. According to the American Association University of Women, women working full-time in the U.S. are paid 77 cents to a man's dollar. But if that were true, wouldn't businesses only be hiring women? It would cut their salary expenses by almost a quarter. Don't they want to save money? That is, of course, not the case. While I was in high school, I was a big supporter of women's rights. And while I no longer consider myself a feminist, I still understand the value and importance of social equality. The wage gap, however, is not something that I view as an inequality. Today, I will be speaking to you about the math behind the wage gap, what causes us to see a gap in the first place, and a potential solution to this problem. Simply put, I'm here to persuade you to believe the wage gap is not caused by a gender inequality, but rather the choices throughout careers that men and women make throughout their careers. So, statistics have shown us that there has been a decrease in the wage gap since the 1980s. And although it's a common misconception in the U.S., there were surprising results from my audience questionnaire. For example, 72.7% of my audience had heard the statement, "Women make 77 cents to a man's dollar." 54.5% said that I believe men and women receive equal pay. And the most shocking, 90.9% of my audience did not know how it was calculated in the first place. So I thought we could do a quick breakdown of the math. According to CNN, the wage gap is calculated by dividing the full-time salary of women over the full-time salary of men. So if the full-time salary of women is, say, $30,800, and the full-time salary of men is, say, $40,000, then we would see an inequality of 77 cents, thus giving us the 77 cent to a man's dollar statistic. But these numbers do not reveal an injustice to women. The wage gap is simply the differences in average income. It does not include position, job, education, or job experience. Everything that goes in determining salary is just off the table. It's only the income. In 2009, the U.S. Department of Labor conducted a study and found after including these variables, they found a gap that ranged from only 4.8 to 7 cents, or 96 cents to the man's dollar. The AAUW, the same feminist organization I mentioned earlier, concluded their findings after including these variables to be 6.6 cents, very similar to what the Department of Labor found. On top of that, the U.S. Department of Labor concluded the wage gap may be almost entirely the result of differences between male and female workers. So these two studies confirm the true gender wage gap is not only a pocket worth of change, but demonstrates how important our choices in our careers makes all the difference. Now, think about what career path you've chosen. Is it something you were born to do? Was it the job stability? Or maybe you're just in it for the money and the benefits. Regardless of your answer, they would have definitely varied from the person sitting to your left and your right had we been in class. And now, imagine all the different people in the world, from all different walks of life, doing all different types of jobs. How can you compare the salaries between all those people in the workforce? There's just no way to get an absolute answer. So we know the problem behind it, but why do we see a gap in the first place? One reason we could see a gap in wages could be due to the fact that men outnumber women in the highest paying majors in college. A report done by Glassdoor confirmed many college majors that lead to high paying jobs, such as technology and engineering, are typically male dominated, while majors that lead to lower paying jobs like social sciences and arts are mostly female dominated. And it's not uncommon that men are more sensitive to their salary than women. And this goes back to our different roles as caregivers. In Western society, women are the caretakers and men are the breadwinners. And I guess this would be considered a gender inequality, given we aren't in the 21st century, where we're free and slowly moving away from traditional roles. Another cause could be due to the motherhood penalty. And the motherhood penalty is a term coined by sociologists that refer to women being punished in the workplace for having a child. So this could be a mother turning down an assignment at work for a little league game that weekend, or leaves a little early from work to pick up her kid. While this is considered a penalty, most mothers would rather spend time with their child than at work anyway. According to Workplace Insight, a study following 3,500 new patients, only 27.8% of the new mothers are back in full-time work, compared to the 90% of new fathers. At the end of the day, if you want to raise a child while working a full-time job and having a full career, do it. You are more than welcome to make that decision on your own. That's your choice. So we know how and why the gap exists in the first place. But is there any way to completely close it? There are so many variables and things that you can control for. But really, as the AAUW and Department of Labor concede that there are just too many variables that determine salary. So it's really impossible to figure out an absolute answer. However, with that being said, one thing is certain, the gap that remains would eventually reduce to the point of zero. The only solution is to just accept that men and women are different, make different decisions for different reasons. To conclude, the wage gap inequality between men and women is caused not by a gender inequality, but rather by individual choices made by men and women. Today, we've considered the math behind the gap, the causes, and a simple, rational solution. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.